conference. Thank you for having me here today. And a lot of what you heard from Louisville, you'll hear from Milwaukee. I think it's interesting that at a floodplain conference, you have two sewage districts in your plenary session talking about these issues. And what we're talking about are both urban and rural approaches to how we deal with flooding, water quality, and other issues that we face. And it always starts with a seed. So let's step back a little bit. Think about 1998, where you were. This was the year I started at the district. I was hired to become the head of engineering. And at that time, my boss said, go spend a lot of money. Believe it or not, we had more financing than we were spending at the time. And she said, go out and do these projects that we've identified. At the time I started, we were spending about $20 million a year on our capital program. This year, we're spending about $150 million. And we've averaged a 150 since about 2001. And so I started looking at how we were going to proceed, and I started looking internal. Again, you have to have that seed that you plant, and you have to know what you can build from before you can really start some of these larger efforts. So I started looking at staff. And Dave Fowler, would you stand up? Does everyone know Dave? Thank you, Dave. A phenomenal guy. Now, if you talk to Dave, you'll see the passion that he brings to his job, and you can take that and multiply it by 200 people at the district. Every single person at the district is passionate. But when I took over in 1998, the heads were down, the shoulders were down. We just had a forced layoff at the district. We just privatized the operation of our system, and people were just beat up. So what I decided to do was to start with the people. Start talking to folks about what they needed to do, how they wanted to improve things, and build off of that passion that I started finding. We had managers that were sitting in one corner of the building, and the people that managed were on the other side. So just the little things, I made them change offices. Now that was a major upheaval at the district. But I made them move so that the people they were working with every day were right in the same area with them. I had one guy that said it would take him 6 months to move, it wouldn't be worthwhile. We did it in a day, it wasn't that hard. So, you just start with the small things and you start moving forward. We also had a great system in place. I started in '98, but we had already implemented a deep tunnel project for CSOs. We'd already done a lot of work, but no one knew about us, or they knew about us in a negative way. How many people live in a large city where your sewage district is the fiend? Everything they do is terrible. And we were looked at poorly because we weren't out telling people what we were doing or how we were doing it or why we were doing it and how we were spending their money. So I'm an environmentalist, okay? I'm a civil engineer, I'm an environmentalist, I believe in climate change. Let's see, what else can I throw out there? We're adapting to climate change. So all of these things, just up front, thank you. Just up front, this is where I'm starting from. And we started from this approach saying we need to look at where we are in '98, what we need to do, and where we're gonna go. And as we go forward, I'll talk about a vision that we just approved for the year 2035, which calls for 0 homes in the 100-year floodplain, 0 CSOs, I know, 0 CSOs, engineers in the room, that's gonna be hard, and 0 SSOs. So we're setting the bar pretty high as we move forward. So as I go through the presentation, look at Milwaukee as kind of a place where we had these challenges in '98. We've done a lot of things that we've implemented, and we're moving forward towards these 0-0 goals that I just mentioned. Let's see if this works. A little bit about us. 1.1 million people, 411 square miles, 28 different municipalities drained in my system. So that map shows the service area for the district. Very urban. Watersheds, when you start looking at them, the majority of the watersheds are upstream of the service area. That hatched area in the middle is a combined sewer area. The rest of it is a separate sewer area. 300 miles of pipe that we own and operate. We have the municipalities have another 3,000 miles of pipe, and the private property owners own another 3,000 miles of pipe from there. So it's a tree. Everything drains to the trunk, we're the trunk, and we have 2 treatment plants that treat that flow. Jones Island and South Shore. On a normal day, they'll treat about 60 million gallons a day each. On a wet day, they'll go up to 300 million gallons a day. So manage a system where it goes from 60 to 300 within 2 hours sometimes within an hour. Deep tunnel, 521 million gallons of storage, 28.5 miles long, 17 to 32 feet in diameter, and it was designed to have 1.4 combined sewer overflows per year. So here's a lesson on public education and public outreach. Back in the 90s, when they were building the first deep tunnel system, one of my predecessors said that he would backstroke down the Milwaukee River once this was built because it would be so clean. Well, it's done. We're having about 2 overflows a year, but I'm not backstroking down the river. And the reason is non-point pollution. So we're starting to see other sources that we weren't even thinking about back in those days. Here's the overflow record. Prior to the tunnel coming online, we had 50 to 60 combined sewer overflows per year. We're averaging 2.2 right now. So we went from 50 to 2. My public wants 0. Okay, 2 isn't good enough. So one of the other things with public education is you have to make sure that you continue to remind people of all the other things we need to do to try to address water quality. 8 to 9 billion gallons prior to the tunnel. We're about 1.1 billion now, so we still have overflows. And the system is amazing. Nature is just a wonderful thing. If you give it a chance, it will respond. It will help you do your job. So we have cleaner rivers. We have river walks being built along the waterways now. We have restaurants where you can actually eat without getting sick from the smell. There's nothing floating in the river anymore, and you can fish it. Lots of fish in the Milwaukee River. And what we're seeing is that economic engine starting to mature now, where people are wanting to be along the waterways. They're wanting to be on the lakefront. They're wanting to be down in downtown Milwaukee. And everything we do is based on data, whether it's USGS stream data. We have a corridor study which has some phenomenal data from that, or it's our own water quality monitoring data. This is our boat. We go out and take our own water quality data.